Quaid, he husked out my name, raw and vulnerable, convulsing in my arms before he froze, riding out his orgasm, clinging to me, begging to be held tighter. I held him, crushed against me, rubbing my chin in the short scalp-trimmed hair as he soaked in the embrace, and then slowly, over long moments, palmed. Finally, he cleared his throat, and I felt his hands on the side of my neck. When I lifted my head, I was faced with his big, beautiful gray eyes. I want to take your sister and your niece to the party tonight. You run them into town and get them both a dress and shoes, or pants and boots, or whatever the hell they want. I think they both deserve it. I'm going upstairs to call Akiko and take a shower so I don't smell like my own cum anymore. Lord. Okay. Tonight, he began firmly. After that party, I plan to smell like you. Do you understand? Yes, I did. You're no longer allowed to play hard to get. Roman, I groaned. Because you belong to me, Quaid. He sighed, smiling slowly. And no matter what you say or what you do, that's not going to change. And from the look in his eyes, weighted and sincere, I started to understand that not everything was up to me. Chapter 7. My sister was a very attractive woman when she was all dressed up, wearing makeup and without the weight of the world on her shoulders. Her daughter, with her high cheekbones, sharp, elfin features, and enormous blue-green eyes, was simply stunning. It was nice to see them mix so effortlessly with the rest of the people at the party. Raisa chatting with many of the ladies about food and what their catering needs were, and Josephine dancing. And I didn't have to worry about her with the locals. She could take care of herself with 18-year-old boys. It was full-grown adult male jackals I had to be on the lookout for. And in Roman's case, I had a stunning man I had never seen before. He was blond and beautiful. He actually looked a lot like Roman would have without the thick, heavy scar tissue. His smile was wide and warm, and he took Roman's hand and was still holding it when the pair of them sat down together. The surge of jealousy almost choked me. Mr. Denas? When I turned my head, I found Everett Crow on my right, smiling up at me. Quaid, I corrected him. Remember? How are you? Good, he said, stepping closer. Can I get you a drink? Oh, no, I'm on duty. Gotta keep sharp and clear to protect the boss. It looks like he's in good hands, he commented, bumping my bicep. As should you be. I squinted at him. I'm sorry? He cleared his throat. What? Like my years weren't good. Have you been drinking, Everett? Just a little, he mumbled as he put his hand on the bicep he had previously bumped. Oh, good. That's even harder than it looks. I coughed. Everett? Yes? He took a step forward, so he had to tip his head back to stare up into my eyes. Are you not interested in Roman? He reacted like I'd startled him. Did you think I was? I did, yes. Oh, he seemed confused. No, I wanted to see if you would like to go out. He had never given any indication of that. I guess I'm not very good at making my feelings known. No, he really wasn't. Normally men come on to me. Of course they did. He was sweet and shy and gentle. All the qualities I liked for Roman, and not for me. I was, in fact, like Everett in that usually men came on to me, and I had to wait. Because of my height and build, if I came on too strong, I scared people. So a man who made his desire known was the only kind. Shit, I grumbled after a moment, because really, I was an idiot. Sorry? Nothing. So, he took a breath. What kind of name is Denas? It's Greek, Roman answered from beside me, suddenly there, sliding his hand between my shoulder blades, gifting Everett with a big, fat, fake smile. "Oh," the schoolteacher beamed back. "I figured it had to be something like that." "Yes," Roman said snidely. "He couldn't have black hair and blue eyes if he were, say, German or something." I bumped him to try and jostle the asshole in him loose, but he just grunted under his breath. "Your eyes," Everett went on, ignoring him, gazing up at me, "are the darkest blue I've ever seen." Roman growled. "Mr. Howell, Roman." Now the blonde man who had been... I would have been a fan if that worked for me, but fragile wasn't really my deal. I was too big, too strong. I couldn't be afraid of tearing up my bed partner. I need solid and unbreakable. "I'm John Slade," he replied softly, squeezing Everett's hand tight. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I have such respect for people who teach school." Everett flushed at the compliment, and the darkened color on his golden brown skin made him even more gorgeous. It was impossible not to be drawn in. John took a step closer to him, still holding his hand. I wondered if I should have mentioned that Slade was absolutely not his real name. He had to be a porn star or in witness protection or something. "May I see you a moment?" Roman asked, forcing a smile to the two men before grabbing my hand and tugging me after him. He walked me around the corner and out through the double French doors onto the enormous back deck of the clubhouse. When he rounded on me, I couldn't suppress my grin. "It's not funny," he snapped right before he shivered in the cold. The tuxedo jacket over his crisp white dress shirt wasn't enough to keep him from freezing. "What's that?" "I saw." He crossed his arms to try and trap some body heat. "I saw Everett flirting with you, and I saw you smiling." "And you got over there pretty damn fast." "Meaning?" he grilled me, trembling harder. "You were jealous." His lips were turning blue. "I was not. I merely wanted to save you from such tedious company." I could stand out there all night. My heart pumped twice the blood his did. My body temperature ran in the triple digits all the time, and 100 degrees was low for any kind of shifter. I wore jackets and coats for appearances and fashion, nothing else. "Come here," I directed, holding my arms open. He lunged at me, hitting my chest hard, wrapping his arms under my suit jacket around my torso, and pressed his cheek over my heart. "You're an idiot," I said. His sigh was long and low, and the way he nestled against me gave me his weight, without a trace of sensuality in the movement, made me smile. We were friends first. It was the basis of everything between us. "I can be, yes." "Everett Crow doesn't interest me in the least," I assured him, rubbing my chin slowly over the top of his head. "But you thought I could be interested in him." "I hoped," I confessed. "Or Owen," he replied. "You liked him for me, too." "Both good choices," I agreed. "They're both good, smart men with bright futures who would make wonderful husbands. I have no doubt." "But," I rumbled, feeling very calm, peaceful, with him wrapped around me. "I heard a but in your voice." "But they're not for me." "No?" "No. I love touching you and looking at you. You're stunning." The reverence in his voice warmed me, but I couldn't let him get too comfortable. "Ro, stop," he ordered, lifting his head so he could gaze up at me. "Now tell me how many times you bit me." I had no idea what to say. 10 times? There wasn't really a correct answer. 20? It would just sound bad. 30? Any reply was guaranteed to deepen his feelings, not lessen them, and that had never been my intent. "Quaid?" "Not as many as you think," I muttered, stopping the guessing game. "I don't know. Only a few. So perhaps 10 is a safe estimate." "Maybe," he nodded. "And why did you?" I pushed him away because I couldn't think with his body reacting to mine, his ragged breath, thickening cock, and heating skin. "Let's go back in." First, and heard the low whimper in the back of his throat. "You were so hurt, Roman. I couldn't just do nothing. I had to try and help you." "And the bite helped?" "That's what your sister said." "Which is why I did it." "And would you have bitten anyone in the same situation, or just me?" "You know the answer to that," I whispered, pulling away. "I do, but you could lie," he said, catching my right hand and holding it. "You explained to me how you lied." "I've only ever lied about what I am," I snarled, tugging free and turning from him. He moved fast, following, barring my path, fisting the lapels of my jacket. "I know, and I've only ever lied about the same exact thing. Think about that a second. The only lie either of us has ever told the other was one of omission." I had to stop and think. We were both afraid to tell the other something we thought might end our relationship. "Roman," I put my hands over his and clenched them from my jacket. He began, taking a step forward. I took one back. "We touch constantly," he said, moving again into my personal space. "And you hug me several times a day. Do you know that you do that? Are you even aware?" "I don't do that," I argued, standing my ground as he slid a hand under my jacket to my side, tracing muscle through the thin layer of dress shirt. "Yes, Quaid," he sighed, smiling up at me. "You most certainly do." "No," I shook my head, as now both of Roman's hands were on my abdomen, smoothing across it and up to my chest before he was against me, ear over my heart, wrapping his arms around me. His purr of contentment was amazing to hear, and I realized, as I always did, that having the man near me made me feel safe for some crazy reason that made no sense at all. I was bigger, stronger. I was the alpha. Why did being near him You kept it longer to hide the scarring, and I didn't hear the rest because they rounded the corner back into the noisy ballroom where I couldn't distinguish their voices from others. After a moment, I followed, because it was what I did, and having Roman in my arms had felt better than it was supposed to. My plan had been to leave. I should have been creating distance, not getting closer. The best thing to do would be to return home without him and pack. I needed to get tickets to be relieved enough to attend the party. They were celebrating. Cal was in the process of being moved, and hopefully when the transfer was complete, he would be awake and happy to see them. I, on the other hand, would have to wait until I returned home to speak to him. Home. It was funny to think of Corbett not being that anymore, not being home. I would return only to leave forever. But it was time to go. My heart hurt at the thought. I went back inside and stood in the wind, inhaling the smell of the sea, and stayed until the dampness settled around me. It was only then, with all my walls firmly in place, that I finally went back inside. As I went down the hall, hearing Roman's name stopped me cold. He's the nicest guy, but I couldn't. That's understandable, I heard another voice say, softer, sultrier. I moved fast and leaned around the corner so I could see halfway down the hall. Being a jackal was a curse at times. At others, like now, it was a blessing. Anyone else would have had to be much closer to hear unless they were packing equipment to aid them. But since they were the only ones there, no competing voices, it was easy to hear them. And seeing the two men, John Slade and Brendan Reynolds, from earlier in the day, would have been difficult as well, but I could see them easily with my animal eyes. They were standing in the dark, huddled close, breathing each other's air, and some others beside the bar. I went to the opposite end and ordered an old-fashioned, which I drank on occasion.